because, again, as a dancer, we kind of grow up knowing your career is going to be short. Once you hit a certain age, 30, whatever, you're done. But I'm not ready to be done.
Right.
And who said I have to be done? I think honestly, any kind of business, even if you were getting ready to open some other kind of business that had nothing to do with performing, you have to have a real passion and love for what it is that you're trying to offer.
Welcome to Lyric Emotion, and today I'm so excited to introduce you to this wonderful, she's a professional dancer, she's a choreographer, she is a business owner, she's a business babe boss too, and such a great choreographer, and I can't wait for you to meet her. I want to introduce you to MARIN Johnson. Hey, MARIN.
Hello.
Thank you so much for coming on today. I want to just briefly tell a little bit about your professional life and how you kind of got started.
Well, I started off at Opryland USA back in the 90s as my first professional dance job. And actually, that's where I met you. And I remember when I met you, I actually thought you were Tanya Tucker because I wasn't familiar with country music, and there was an orientation thing, and they brought in performers, and they introduced you like you were the stars, and I just thought how cool it was that Tanya Tucker came to the Opryland orientation.
Oh my gosh, I forgot that story. That's awesome.
So that's kind of where I started, and I feel like that was just such an amazing experience, and just around so many talented people. That's where I met my husband, and then
Yeah.
things kind of branched out from there. Networking, and once you get that first job, I feel like once they see your work ethic and that you're constantly trying to grow and be better and get better at your craft, then I think that things happen, and I just pretty much branched out from there, and almost not. Now there are a lot of things now that I don't trace back to Opryland, but so much of what I've done I can directly connect.
I know, isn't it crazy? I mean, you grew up in Boston and you went to
Baltimore.
Baltimore, and
Maryland.
went to Point Park, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yes, because I remember there's so many great people that come out of Point Park
Yes.
as well. Okay, now you moved from there. You came to Nashville, and then you went around, you toured around, you did shows. You've been there forever. And then you got married. I know you were starting to kind of settle down because you're about to have some beautiful children. You got three.
But luckily, I married a performer, so
I was gonna
so we
say,
were
yeah.
able to still continue traveling and touring and performing, and even into when after our first son was born, he used to come with us. We used to bring a babysitter with us to gigs, and so it wasn't until I had my second son that traveling started to get a little harder. But up until then, when it was just us and Kobe, we were out still performing and doing everything.
I think that's another point for people to know, especially those in entertainment, even those who are not, that you can balance both. It can be harder, but it's like you said, you can balance both. But you decided to open up a dance studio. And tell us a little bit about that. I know that because I remember when you were first opening it, and just briefly the challenges you might have had, or what inspired you, and then the challenges and how you got through them.
Well, it was actually my second one. We owned a performing arts school in Nashville for about 4 years.
Yeah.
And it was a great learning experience. At the time, I feel like I just was overwhelmed with it and was like, oh, what have I done? And then, I got rid of that and thought I would never do it again. And then, things change, and I really wanted to be here. I'm in Wisconsin right now. Wanted to be here with my family as we were growing our family, just to have that extra support, my sister and my nieces, and eventually my parents all moved here. And so, I swore after I sold the first studio that I had in Nashville, I swore I would never do it again. I even had a list of 25 reasons not to do it, gave it to my mom, said, if I ever talk about it again, give me a list. Well,
I did not know this.
well, then the decision came down to, do we move back to Nashville, where all of my friends and so many connections were, and it was such a struggle, every day going back and forth. And in the end, we ended up staying with our family, but there just wasn't a lot here like we were used to, and so we decided to do it again, and I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful I did it. And those 4 years that I had in Nashville were such a learning experience for me. So even though I thought that it was so hard, I learned a lot. So then the second time around, there were a lot of mistakes that I had made the first time that I was aware of, and was able to do better. And I honestly, I'm in a small town, and they have welcomed us immensely. We have huge support, and we offer dance, voice, and acting. So we're a full performing arts school, and we've been around long enough now that we've sent some of our students off to college, musical theater, acting, dance departments. We had one of our students was one of the leads in the tour of Paw Patrol. So, you know, yeah.
Oh,
So we've been around long enough to have trained a group of students. The majority of students don't go on professionally, but if they want to, we want to know that we're providing what they need to be able to be successful, even though we're in this little town in Wisconsin.
well, I want to circle back around to that because you've done an amazing job there with Forte, and I want to go back just a little bit. And okay, Marin is such an amazing dancer, and back in the day, I know that we were all doing so much work and so many lifts and so many technical things. And I mean, you've traveled the world. What was that feeling like? Because you're still performing, right? But what's that feeling like when you were performing and then starting transitioning into teaching dance?
Yeah. That was hard because I absolutely loved performing. I love I love the whole experience of being with other performers.
Yeah.
Just the time in the dressing room, just sitting around talking, or the time when you're with the band and the crew and everybody's in the green room waiting to go on. Like, I really value those moments too, just as much as the time on stage. And I missed that a lot. However, I did step back from a lot of the traveling and things because my kids were little, and I just felt like I just didn't want to be away from them. So when we first opened our studio, I was still kind of traveling here and there, trying to do weekends and things, and I just felt like I was away too much. And so I did step back, and it was a hard decision, but I don't regret it because I was here for my kids all the time, and they always knew where I was. And our studio is only 2 blocks from our house, so I've always been accessible to them, and I feel like that was a really important thing for me. And then being able to still be involved, and I've worked with some amazing kids, and we have, I know a lot of times people, sometimes in this business of performing arts schools, parents can be really challenging, but I have to say that I have great families here, and part of that could also be because we put rules in place from the beginning, and when people have tried to overstep, we just nip it in the bud right away, and it has worked to our advantage because now people kind of come in and they're just great, and I love it.
Well, it sounds like, I mean, obviously setting up your rules, being consistent and sticking to them is really a valuable thing to do with a studio. For people out there that are either, okay, they're transitioning into a dance studio, maybe they're still dancing too, and we know a lot of those people that are still doing both. But what are some things, some tips that you can give someone who maybe has just started their dance school, and what things, maybe a couple of things that you learn not to do, and then the things that are really working?
I think honestly, any kind of business, even if you were getting ready to open some other kind of business that had nothing to do with performing, I think is if you need to have a passion for what it is that the business is. You have to have a real passion and love for what it is that you're trying to offer. And then I think through what matters to you. What are the things that have come up over the years for you, and what really matters. And if you can set those things, you can lay those things out ahead of time. Know your rules. I think as a new business owner, you want so much for people to like you and so much for people to want to come to your business that it's easy to let people walk all over you, or it's easy to let people make you question your rules or your regulations, things like that. And it's easy to let them talk you into other things, like I am aware that many studio owners, one of the struggles they have is getting people to pay their tuition. And so there are a lot of studios, unfortunately, out there who the families have $1,000 balance. And people are like, how do I collect? How do I collect? And for us, and they feel guilty, and I get that because we love our students and we don't want our students to suffer, and we feel like if we don't let them take classes, then we've put them in this position. But like, no, we haven't done that. Be upfront with everything. Another thing, I don't want families to feel like I hide costs. I am
Mm,
very transparent. I'm upfront with everything. This is everything you'll pay for the whole year. And if you want to
mm,
do it, here we go. And if you don't, that's okay, but this is what it is.
yeah.
And so, we let our accounts go about 2 weeks, and if people haven't paid, then sadly we have to pull kids from classes, and I hate doing that, but it works. And I have never ended the season with people owing me money, and so I know that it
Wow.
works. And I wish that more studio owners would do something like that, because and I know it's hard. It's very hard. But we always try and make it fun for the kids. If a kid has to go sit in the office, especially a little one, I'm like, oh, you're not in trouble, but I just need to talk to your parent, and here, have a coloring page, sit and color, and we just sit and talk, and I never try to make it hard on them in that way.
Man, I think that's great advice because, again, it's a lot of times not the children's fault. So it's trying to balance between, oh my gosh, how do we do this, and how do we still encourage these kids? And that sounds
Well, and again, I think in any business, once you start letting people walk all over you
mhm.
or get you to bend your rules, that's what people will come to expect. And they'll just keep doing it until you put your foot down and go, no, I really need this. And a lot of, at least here in my town, people realize that this is how I make a living. My husband works at the studio too. This is how we raise our family. Like, I can't provide this service for you if I can't make a living doing it. So, you have to pay for it. And we do try to keep things reasonable, but I think that's one of the biggest things, because I know financial stress can really wear someone down and make them feel like this isn't the business for them and they can't do it. And oftentimes it's because we lead with our hearts, because as dancers, it's just, there's so much emotion. And we do it because we love it. And I don't know of any dancer who started dancing because they wanted to get rich.
Right.
It's because, you know,
That is
but
so
you
true.
can make a good living. You just have to be smart about it.
Exactly. Oh man, that's such great advice. Okay, how long have you owned your studio now?
We are in our 20th season.
Oh wow.
I opened when I was like 5.
That's right. Well, you still look, 20. So, hey, age is just a number. But man, that's great. Like, do you have something special then? I mean, like, is this the 20th year?
This is our 20th year. Um,
Wow.
we didn't do anything specifically. Our we have a big end of the year show. We didn't really do anything specific to the 20th. We did on the 10th. When we had our 10th
Okay.
year, we kind of revisited all of our favorite pieces that we had done in the first 9 years. This
Yeah.
time we decided to just go totally different. So no, we didn't do that, but we are super proud of it, and I honestly can't believe that much time has gone by. Um, it's been, and all three of my kids have gone through the program. I still have my youngest daughter. She's a junior, so I still got her for another year and a half, and she still dances. And it's been great. It's been a great gift for us to be able to give that to our kids, and for us to share that as a family, as well as the other students.
I know. I mean, all three of them were raised in the studio. I mean, you've got Kobe now who does music, and he's like a DJ, but he's also an sound engineer, so he
Yep.
can stay in that. And then, gosh, Jonah is at Belmont, and
Yep.
he is in
Commercial
commercial
music.
music, and so he's got that bug, just like you
Yep.
and Wes, your husband, definitely were, are still amazing performers. And then you've got Arias, who's still in it. But how? Yeah, I was going to say when you have, I mean, you go, kids grow up, and that is what happens, I believe, a lot of time when someone owns a studio. But then you might have sometimes where they're just not interested at all. Is there a way that you navigated that, and maybe that didn't happen with your kids as much?
No, honestly, it didn't happen. And I have
Yeah,
boys, and my boys took ballet and tap and jazz and hip hop, and they also sang, and
yeah,
they did acting for a couple of the years. And so that just really honestly never happened. Now Aria, she used to dance almost every day, and she has cut back on that. So I know that
yeah.
she's not planning on pursuing that as a career. but she does still dance, and and so I still get to, and I'm her teacher, which is nice. I'm a teacher for 3 of the 4 classes she takes, and so
Okay.
we get to share that together. I'm hoping she'll at least keep it in her life in some way in college, but I know she's got a different path right now. It's somewhere between architecture and finance.
Is there like a favorite? I mean, gosh, all these years when you get to be so creative on in a studio and you get to see how these kids, grow and there's so many life changes, especially when they become teenagers in your dance community. But is there numbers that became like really iconic to you as a choreographer as well?
Well, we have a performance company. We're not involved in dance competitions, but we have a performance company, which I love because they have to audition, and it's very,
Hmm.
my elite group. And so we put on our own concert in March, and I love that. That's my favorite concert that we do because we're not in a box. We don't have to be stuck to 3 minutes for every dance. We can really explore and do more things. And actually, you've been out as our guest choreographer a couple of times, which has been
Yes.
amazing. I really like doing things that relate to things that they're going through. I don't know. I have a wide range of different things I like to do. Sometimes I just like to do goofy things. Like right now, we're revamping a piece I did about 11 years ago that's all based on the book Go Dog Go.
Oh,
So it's just kind of a silly, fun thing. And I love that. But probably my most meaningful piece so far was from a couple of years ago. It's called COVID. Go figure. I'm sure everybody's done a COVID piece, but my COVID piece was about 20 minutes long.
okay.
And we went through a whole range. We basically went through the whole range of everything that we felt like happened to us. And to prepare for it, I interviewed all of the dancers, and I just really
Wow.
wanted their experience. And some of what they said was really emotional, and there were some tears that happened from just things that they experienced with feeling like families started fighting, and feeling like they were never going to get back to their life, and just the loneliness and that kind of thing. And so I really wanted to express that, but I didn't want the whole thing to be a downer. So
Mhm.
we also played on the fact everybody going to the store and stealing all and taking up all the toilet paper and all this stuff. So we did. So there was a section in the dance where there's this big toilet paper fight, and there's one person running around stealing all the toilet paper from everybody. So I guess most of my pieces I like there to be a range. I don't want it to be all just one emotion. I want, especially with such a big topic. And then we got these big cardboard sheets that went across the whole stage, and we had cutouts with material, and we were able to kind of do a Zoom call where
Wow.
different squares open, and people were glitching, and then somebody accidentally turned themselves into a fish and kind of and they like there were a lot of funny things in it, but there were also a lot of sad, emotional, like I can't breathe, and there were things like that, and some of the struggles, and in the end we got through it. We all got back together. So, but that probably is the one I love the most, probably.
Man, I mean, that is so great and so healing too, like the connect with all the funny things in that time frame of COVID. Man, it gave us a lot to dance about
It
for
sure
sure.
did.
But how cool that was to just, to really take time with your students to connect with them and what was going on.
Yeah.
And then it really created a release for them. I love that. I love that. Last year, or was it this year? Oh my gosh, my years are going by. When I came,
I know. I know.
I
They
think it was
do.
this. Well, it was last year. Yeah, it was last year when I came up and as a guest
Mhm.
choreographer, and you had a piece that you were working on with hair, and it was.
Oh,
Oh, I thought that
yes.
was so clever. All the different ways you wear your hair, and it was just really a fun piece.
I
Yeah,
know. Thank you. It doesn't sound like when we just talk about it like that, but it was so fun.
yeah.
And there were 5 or 6 dancers, and they all happened to have really long hair. And I just wanted to make it all about that. So we found some really fun songs, and so that's what I like too. I like doing things sometimes that I like to have in my concert a range of some
Yeah.
serious things, some not serious things. And the not serious things, sometimes I just like them to be really weird and things that people wouldn't think of to do, but especially because so much of the dance world, and I'm not knocking this at all, but so much of dance studio world is competition based. And and we don't really do that. So I know a piece like my hair dance, to me it was very entertaining, and we got a lot of really good feedback. It would never do well at a competition. It's just not that style of movement. I don't, it just doesn't fit that. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's kind of what I love about my company.
Okay, well, moving forward, I think that there's what I really admire about you too is that you're always finding new ways, even just in life, like even with your kids. You make time, you think of fun games, y'all go and explore. And one of the things that you did is you climbed this mountain. Can you tell?
Yes, I
Just
did.
remind me what mountain it was and all that, because I was like, yeah, I mean, here she is busy with all this. I'm gonna climb a mountain. You gave yourself I don't know, a different task. To me, that was just kind of like, okay.
Well, and that was one of those things, was very spiritual for me. That might sound cheesy, but for anybody who's going through this, as a dancer, especially, we spend so much of our young life training and being able to do all these amazing physical things. And then at some point, things start to get harder. The hips start to not work the way they used to. And I was really going through a phase where I was down on myself, and I was really feeling depressed, and I was feeling like I had had both hips operated on, which was great because I had a lot of pain, and now it's not there, but it's severely impacted what I was able to do after that. And so I just went through this depression thing. And anyway, we were
Yeah.
out west on a family vacation. I had always wanted to see Devil's Tower. I've loved that mountain since Close Encounters of the Third Kind when we were back in elementary school. And
Okay.
finally saw it in real life with all five of us went. And when you go there, there's a lot of boulders at the bottom, and yeah, you can free climb. Anybody can just go up to a certain line, and then there's a definite line that, like, you can't go past this unless you're a registered climber.
Okay.
So me and two of my kids, me and Kobe and Arya, we walked up, as we climbed as far as we could. And we were just sitting there, and I was looking up at the mountain, and again, this is going to sound cheesy, but this voice came into my head and said, "You're going to climb this. You're going to climn this." And so I
Love
went back
it.
down. I looked at my husband and I said, "I'm going to climb that." And he said, "Cool." So,
Love it.
yeah, so I went home. I started looking up rock climbing places in my area. I found a group, and I went and spent a day there. And we climbed it. That place is called Devil's Lake, so it's kind of weird. Anyway, I spent a day there and realized, oh my gosh, this is so hard. This is so hard. What am I thinking? There was one moment where I was stuck on this rock, and I'm just plastered along it. And I look up, and there's a Amish family at the top of, because you could hike up to the top. There's an Amish
Okay.
family looking over at me, and I'm like, and so I was thinking, what am I doing? And then I thought, okay, if I can just make it 1 inch higher, just one
Mm.
inch. And I did. And then it was like this conversation I had with myself the whole time, going, okay, just one tiny little bit more, tiny little more. And I made it all the way to the top. And I was also kind of feeling that feeling of, oh, I'm the oldest one here. And I actually was able to climb things that some of these there were about four younger men in their 20s. And I mean, they were in very good shape. And I was able to climb some of the ones that they gave up on. And I don't
Yeah.
know if they were clearly stronger than me, but I think it was some of the mental thing. And I think also just the balance that I had as a dancer. I didn't lose that, and that sense of using my lower body too, not just my arms trying to pull me up. And so anyway, in 2019, I went and I climbed Devil's Tower, and it was amazing. And when I came down, I first thing I said was, I want to do it again. So I went back in 2021 and I did it again. And I kind of have thoughts of doing it again, either at the end of this year or sometime next year. And then that'd probably be it.
But I love this story so much because I mean, it is inevitable that whatever we're doing, we're all going to go through our times. And, and especially as physical as dancers, athletes, any kind of, you are going to go through some strains, some, unfortunately, maybe some broken bones. But the thing is like, I mean, you're still really young, and you were still young when your hips were bothering you, and you got it kind of taken care of. And the thing is, for those of you listening, she's still kicking and doing her stuff. So don't let her fool you. But I do believe that there's a lot to say. And I totally believe in those voices. I mean, however you want to talk about it, whether it's your gut speaking to you, whether it's a higher power, there are times where you're like, if you're led, try this, do this, and then act on it and look at what you gained from that. And I think that's a lesson for everybody, and you have your times. Man, I've had my times when we've been, that self-pity party of like, oh my God, I can't even do this anymore. But, that's the beauty of it. You will get through it. And your story is just another testament that your mind over body can really work. And, so for those of you feeling bad, go climb a mountain. That's what I'm going to say.
I was, and I'm telling you, when I was up there, it was amazing. It was just such a sense of fulfillment and accomplishment. And I will give a little shout out to Will Buckman, Buck Wild Climbing Guides out
Mhm.
in Wyoming. He's the person I went with both times, and if I go again, he's the one I want to go with again.
Awesome.
He was just a great guide, and he allowed me the second time through. I gave him a tap lesson up on top of Devil's Tower.
I mean, do you have video of that? Because we need to see that.
I can probably find a picture somewhere.
Oh my gosh. I love it. Well, I was going to say, have you choreographed a number to that, or is that kind of
No.
you kept it to your own thing and like, that's my, you know?
It's interesting you say that because I've never even considered it. So I don't know if maybe subconsciously I'm like, no, that's my thing. I have never
Yeah.
thought about choreographing to that, but
Yeah.
maybe I'll think about it now.
Okay, going forward, again, I was using that reference because I knew you had done that with the mountain climbing, but you also decided just to kind of go back to school. I mean,
Yes, I
I
did.
love this because that's the other thing. What happens is we get to a point where we go, oh, I mean, and even a lot of younger people feel this way too. I'm almost 30 and I can't dance anymore. Are you kidding me?
Right.
And then they have a new career that whole decade. But going forward, you decided that you wanted to go back to school and learn. I mean, you're getting a master's in
I'm
choreography, or
getting
what's
a
your?
Master of Fine Arts in Choreography from Jacksonville University.
I just love it, and it's an online thing, but you meet certain
It's a
times
two
in the
year
summer.
Yep, it's a 2-year program, and you have to go in person for 2 weeks for 2 summers. And I'm so grateful for that time. Like, I'm glad that you have to do that because that's been amazing. You go in with a cohort, so you're with the same people the whole time. And so, that's been great. Some of the people, we kind of dwindled down. We started out as a cohort of 9. Now we're a cohort of 4. Just, different things people go through,
Yeah.
whatever. And now I feel like it was just yesterday. Actually, I was talking to you saying I'm thinking about going back to school. Am I too old to go back to school? And now I'm about to graduate. I'll be graduating in May, just a couple months. So I'm working on my thesis right now, which kind of coincides with everything we're talking about. So my thesis is all about multi-generational exchange and the value of just what we can learn from different generations. Because again, as a dancer, we kind of grow up knowing your career is going to be short. Once you hit a certain age, 30, whatever, you're done. And I guess, I feel like, but I'm not ready to be done.
Right.
And
Right.
who said I have to be done? Like, why
Yes.
do we think that? So, and then, so I've kind of done a lot of research and things just about cultural experiences and thoughts. And there is this thought of, once you're a certain age, you can't dance anymore. But on the flip side, oftentimes the older people are treating these younger dancers like you're just a body, you just do what I say. And that's that, and my project is all about bringing together people of different ages and us trying to collaborate and learn from each other. There is a focus on the value of older dancers, but it's not about us just telling all the young ones what to do. It's about all of us coming together and appreciating what each generation and each life experience values, or what we can learn from each other. And so my project, there's 8 of us in the project, and our age ranges are from 12 to 71.
Yeah.
I
Way
know.
to go. I love that. I love it. And I just think, I mean, I remember talking to you too. And my gosh, how many things have we choreographed? And I've choreographed so much stuff over the years. But you still get to a point like the things that whether we're reminding ourselves of some things that we knew back,
Yep.
or you're learning new skills on how to approach. I mean, we all get stuck. I mean,
Yes.
no matter what we do, but especially as choreographers, dancers, everything, you're kind of going, oh my gosh, I think I'm running out of my skill. And you would talk to me. I mean, I would ask you a couple of things and you would go, well, we decided to do this with like pictures, or we decided to do that. And I'm going, oh my gosh, I hadn't even thought of that, or I hadn't thought of that in a while. And I'm like, It's all about continuing the growth and the learning. And yeah, and the different phases of what we go through, because now you've got a piece that's coming up and it's going to be, oh my gosh, 12 to 71. And how cool is that? Because people are still moving, you
Yes.
know. But I
Yep.
want to know, did it change by going through these courses? Did it change how you taught anything in your studio? Did anything shift for you or inspire
Yes.
you in a different way?
Yes, actually, it's changed quite a bit, and I'm really excited about the way it's changed, and I'm excited to keep going and doing that. So, I tended to be where I have to be so prepared, like so prepared, where every count of eight is pretty much laid out, or I know pretty much what I wanted, and that doesn't mean that within the rehearsal process that I never had flexibility. If something wasn't working, then yes, I could fix it, and we could be flexible or whatever. But I went in with this whole like literally everything worked out, and a lot of what we did have learned in college is sometimes, and it's one of the values of kind of goes along with my project of collaboration. So yes, I'm the choreographer, but when I have a group of dancers, each of them are unique, and if we can share and collaborate together, then sometimes when I go in and I just have an outline rather than having every single step laid out, I have an outline, or I might have some certain steps or certain things. I'm like, I know I want this, or I know I want
Yeah.
that. Then I can work with them, and when they have the attitude too that they aren't just there for you to tell them what to do, but that they're a part of the process. There have been some things working on this thesis project that I went in, and I kind of was like, well, I know I want to do something like this, but I need some help. And then what ended up happening was so fun and great, and it wasn't what I would have done by myself, and it ended up being way better than what I would have come up with, I think, on my own. So I think it's trusting myself more, that it's okay if I don't have every single step. I think I used to be worried that, well, I won't look prepared, or I don't want people to be standing around while I'm trying to figure something out. But if I can just trust the process, and you know, then I really have enjoyed being able to open up that opportunity for the dancers so that we can work together and everybody has a little more stake in the final product.
Gosh, I love what you just said. And I do think, enjoying the process because everybody works differently. And I think I went through that too of, God, I've got to be prepared. I've got to do this. And a lot of things I would do would be organic because I really wanted to I mean, I knew exactly the vision I wanted, but maybe I didn't have all the steps at that time. And so I would either get in a situation where everybody was waiting for the steps,
I
but what
know.
I'm doing is I'm doing exercises to get their minds trained into what we're about to actually accomplish. And
Yes.
so, and I learned over the years how to balance that, but I do believe that's important too. There's a time where you go in, we got to teach this, we got to get going, boom,
Right.
this is it. And then there's a time, and especially if you have the luxury in a class situation, that you really get to know the piece and you collaborate with their,
Yes.
young or old ideas, and I do believe there's a lot of value in that. And everybody is taught a different way and gets stuck in that. So I love that. Create the process. And you're on it, you're prepared and all that, but to allow yourself, like you said, that extra little flexibility on
Yeah.
certain things, it's
Yeah.
amazing how creative things can get,
Yep. And some of these younger dancers, again, I think sometimes as older dancers, we tend to think that we have all the experiences and we have all this, which we do have a lot of experience. But sometimes these kids will come in and they'll do something, and I either think it's hysterical, and I'm like, I have to use that, and I wouldn't have thought about it, or I just think, wow, I wouldn't have thought of that. I love that. Let's use it. And so they have a lot of creativity and value too.
I love that because I know you feel that way too. I feel like there's a space for everyone. I mean, and I love honesty and I love connection and storytelling, and you do too. And yeah, it's really exciting. Okay, so as you're going forward, I mean, you're working on this project, which is coming up really soon, and then do you graduate from this course?
Yeah, I will graduate in May, and I will have my degree, and I'm pretty sure I'll officially be a professor. So
I
that's
think that is amazing. Do you have some other goals that you want to achieve
yes. I
with that?
so I mentioned how when my kids were young, I still had forte, so I was still here at the
Mhm.
performing arts school, but I also kind of traveled as well. I was trying to balance that. I stepped back from that, but now my kids are all growing up, and so I feel that now is a really good time for me to start putting myself back out there. And I think even though I have stayed on top of dance trends and I've been choreographing all this time, and I have done choreography for a lot of different local organizations, but I kind of have been out of the loop as far as like some of the connections I used to have. I kind of stepped back, and so I don't want to come back all these years later and for them to feel like, I don't know, I guess it was this feeling like I need to make sure that everybody realizes that I'm still relevant. I still have done things, even though anyway, that kind of led me to, I want to up my game so that when I get back out there, not only do I have this experience with my school, but now I have this too. And so that was kind of the what led me to go into that. And so now, I'm not really sure what's going to happen. I don't really know. I just know that it's time for me to start putting myself back out there. And I missed performing. I missed the performing world. And even if I'm on the production end of it, I love that whole journey. So I would love to go and choreograph for a tour, or whatever, or even
Yeah.
short-term gigs, like we used to do little industrial gigs and things like that. I would love to do that. I also, my degree will allow me to get, to be able to work in a college setting too. And so I don't really know what that, I'm not really sure, again, about all of that, but I would love to travel around and even just be a guest artist at a college, or be in like an adjunct, and maybe I can still balance, because, I still have forte here, and my family's here, and, but maybe I can start exploring balancing and getting back to, being able to do some more things now that my kids are kind of starting their own journeys.
Well, yeah, and I think that that's just so relevant. I mean, you've really been able to balance. You found a way to balance, that family thing, and with your passion. I want to give a shout out to your husband, Wes Johnson. He's an amazing talent as well. Hope to interview him and use some of his songs. I know I'm sure you've choreographed too, but
Oh, yeah.
he's amazing talent as well, and he is there also with vocals. And what else does he do with the company?
Well, he is also back in school. So it was kind of like a little domino effect. So he 2 years ago he got his life coaching certification.
Hmm.
He did a mindfulness certification. He's worked on several vocal performance certifications, and that kind of inspired me to go back to what I thought, well, I need to get some certifications, and it led me to this college program. And then I think once I went into that, he was like, well, now I want to get my MFA too. So he is actually a student at Essex University, that's in England, I think.
Okay,
So
wow.
it's
Okay.
overseas, and that one is all online, fortunately. So he
Yeah.
doesn't have to go over there, but he will have an MFA in vocal pedagogy well, he'll have the MA part of it this fall, and then the MFA part of it, because they extended the program. He'll have that in about a year, and so then
Wow.
he'll be a vocal pedagogy master, I guess.
Well, I mean, the bottom line is that we continue to grow and we learn, and it's very inspiring when you just kind of like, yeah, we're just taking courses and we're doing this and that. You've spent years. I call it out in the field in the real world of entertainment. Where you just really learn a lot from
Oh
the,
yeah,
the experiences you have, and then going back to school and kind of renewing your mind on things,
yeah.
and inspiring yourself to just keep going, because that's a hard part, especially in any business, but in this business too, is the change and the growth. And I'm so proud of y'all, and I'm so
Thank
excited
you.
that I call y'all friends and know
Yes.
what great work you're doing. Again, thank you so much for doing this interview today.
Thank
And
you.
I know that it's going to be so helpful, insightful for a lot of other, not only performers, but business folk and others just really maybe even stuck in their crossroads of what do I do next, or I'm trying this. And you just keep going. Do you have any advice? Again, because you've
Gosh.
got students too that probably
Yeah.
want to pursue this. You have students that maybe don't. Um,
Well, I don't know if this is advice as much as it is just acknowledgement, because I think sometimes when people can admit some of their vulnerable states, it can be helpful for people. And and I am nervous about the future. Like I'm nervous about putting myself back out there, because for such a long time now, I've been in my own little bubble here, and I'm in charge of pretty much all of it, so it runs the way I want it to run, and I make the decisions and that kind of thing. And I'm super excited about putting myself back out there, but I'm also nervous. Like, well, gosh, what if no one wants to use me for anything, or what if I don't get another chance for this? And what, you know what I mean? And so I have those feelings, and I think everybody probably goes through doubts like that, no matter what. But I also feel very confident in what I'm learning. I feel confident in who I am in a way that I didn't a long time ago.
Yeah.
So even though I'm nervous, I also feel really excited, and I feel like as long as I keep heading towards something, and I don't let fear prevent me from making that phone call, or prevent me from sending that email, or whatever, that I just have to keep doing it. And even if I think, oh, I want this, and that it doesn't work out, something else is going to come along that I'm going to be like, oh wow, I really wouldn't have even thought of that. And I just have to have faith in that. So I think that we just have to believe in ourselves and support each other, and just keep going in a direction. If you feel stuck, find something to make you be unstuck in whatever direction that seems like it makes sense at the time. I don't know. I don't know if that's helpful.
But I think that is extremely helpful. I think is exactly where most of us are a lot of times too. And it is, you just got to keep going. I know that I go through that too. I'm like, okay, the day just didn't seem productive at all. And I'm really trying to do something different. And I think what you just said is you just keep going a direction, because things do come out of actions.
Yeah.
I think that's the best thing, doing an action. So,
and I think finding your support system, and not letting people, if people are beating you down, then they're not the people. Go find the people who are building you up.
Right. And yeah, lessons learned with all of that for sure. Thank you again so much. I think that you said that you are now going to get a prom dress for your daughter.
I am. I'm so excited.
Continuing to balance all of
Well, and it's supposed to be this really fancy place that, if we had to make an appointment, and she'll have one person helping her with everything. So it'll be a little princessy moment. But hey, I brought something that I hope is okay. I would like to show you really quickly.
Okay.
We have a bunch of pictures together, and I'm sure I have a bunch more, but I brought this. Hold on. Can you see it?
Oh my gosh, that's you and I. Wasn't that one of our Lenny Klinger gigs?
I think it was,
back in the day when we would do a lot of industrial work, and we would go dance and sing with a band.
Yes, I have so many great memories with you, and I would just like to say too how proud I am of you. Now we're getting all cheesy, but I am so proud of you for doing this Lyric in Motion. I know that is another thing that talking about just not being sure and all that, and taking a leap of faith, and I'm super proud of you for doing that, and I'm also really honored that you would want to talk to me about it.
Oh, thanks, friend. Well, this is Marin Johnson. She is currently, her studio is called Forte.
Yep.
In Wisconsin.
Mount Horeb, Wisconsin.
Horeb, Wisconsin. Yeah, check them out. They're doing amazing work. They're really growing a wonderful school there for performers, and just life coaching for sure in general. So, okay, we're going to be looking out for you. There's so much more to come. Thank you, friend. And
thank you.
Mwah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.